Welcome back to Around the Table with Stacy Smith. We're talking about politics. We talked about the senatorial debate. We're talking about mail-in ballots. We're talking about a lot of different things. But one thing we have not talked about much in our lead up to the election, and that is the state House and Senate races. There were, as we all know, redistricting for the U.S. congressional districts, also reapportionment for the state House and state Senate races. And so, Jim, I'll point it out to you to begin with, and then the governor as well, since you sat as governor and you had to deal with the state legislature. This reapportionment for the state, is it going to change the makeup of the state legislature, do you think?
Not on the Senate side. There's even though it looks like 5 or 6 seats, that's not much. Well, yeah, it is. It's a lot. They want to hope to close the margins in the state Senate. In the state House, our objective this year, look, there are, I think, 22, 23 of those races that are quote unquote in play. I think the number right now is 130. Keith, I could be off by 1 or 2 here, but I think it's 113 R to 88 Democrat in the state House. That's a heck of a margin to catch. It's the races that are in play could make it happen. It's highly unlikely. We're working to establish a foothold to flip it in 24. If the Democrats come out of this midterm in the state House anywhere from 93 to 97, our target is 95, 96. If we have 96, 95 plus after this cycle, it is certainly in play for 2024. And with the chief executive, a prolific fundraiser like Josh Shapiro in the executive branch, it would be very doable in 24. So very unlikely this time, but if we hit that margin or hit that mark, it's more than likely that we'll do it in 2 years.
Well, especially in a year like this, that is a midterm for a presidential race, I think it's going to be very difficult for them to increase their numbers. I think the Republicans might increase them. It'll be interesting because they're all new districts, and there are a couple districts that Democrats sitting Republicans are now having to cover different territory than they had before. So could there be some upsets there? Maybe. We'll have to wait till election night to see what happens.
Yeah, the Republicans enjoy healthy majorities in both chambers in state government. So I agree with the governor. I don't see a change there. Quite frankly, they've raised a lot of money this cycle. They've recruited good candidates when they had to find new candidates. But if there was any gain, listen, it's a midterm for a Democratic president. This should be a time we should hold our own or gain. If Jim's right and they gain a few seats and we still keep the majority, it's still a big win. So we were looking for that not to happen. If on election night you report that the Republicans are still in charge, but they've lost some of their majority, I would be quite concerned. I think they're going to stay even, or quite frankly, in the midterm, I'm actually expecting them to gain a seat or 2.
So let me add this. If that's the case, then Josh Shapiro is going to have to learn to deal with the Republican legislature. And that may be good for him because he's going to have to learn how to work with them and deal with them, especially when it comes down to the very first thing he has to do is come up with a budget. And that'll be his biggest challenge, assuming he is the elected governor.
People like shared government. So I think they'll have to find a way to share government and move the agenda forward.
Governor, I have to ask this question with a smile on my face. Is it difficult to learn to work with a Republican legislature?
Well, I was in a unique situation because, and a lot of people forget this, you have to remember I went into governor coming from the Attorney General's office where I had investigated both the House Democrats and the House Republicans as Attorney General. I didn't make any friends going in there.
Yeah, I can understand that. All right, we have about 2 minutes to go here, so we'll make this one rather quick. And that is, Jim, if you are John Fetterman, he comes to you and he says, what should I do now in the last 10 days before the election? What's your advice?
Keep doing what you're doing. Be out front and be candid about your recovery. No surprise last night. This is what we expected, and we appreciate your candor and letting us know that you continue to be on the mend. That showed tremendous courage. He could have dodged that debate and allowed Mr. Oz to control the narrative. He chose to do the Marco Ramius Red October and turn that submarine right into the torpedo so it couldn't arm itself, and he took control of the narrative. That was huge. Keep doing that. He's going across the state right now to rallies where hundreds and hundreds of people are lining up. Keep doing that. Come out strong, come out positive, stay on point, and stay on message about what's at stake. Not whether or not what direction we take the country, but our position is whether or not we have a country based on the MAGA wing that has put so many candidates on the ballot. Those are the things I'd advise him to keep doing. And let's not forget that last night, within 6 hours of that debate, Mr. Fetterman raised an additional $1 million. So keep doing what you're doing. It's working.
Keith.
If I was advising Oz, I would say make a strong closing argument. I mean, the polling now shows it's the economy, inflation, crime, and the border, all things that people are not happy with at this time. So he has to present himself as an agent for change. I'm going down there. I've heard you. I know what's on your mind, and I'm going down there to shake things up.
All right, Governor, can you give us one in 20 seconds or so?
I think so. I think each one of them should go into this saying, I want your vote, and here's why I want your vote. I didn't hear that last night. You're asking the people to vote for you. Ask them. I think that's important.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. A good discussion today. Thank you also for watching, and I hope that you join us again for the next edition of Around the Table with Stacy Smith.